Okay, here we go. How am I doing on this rainy evening? How'd you guess it was raining? It got rain really late. Really, really late. I think like as the sun was dropping. Tomorrow it's spring forward, which I hate losing an hour, but I hate increasing the chances of. I like increasing the chances of coming home while it's still light. I really don't like the other time. Okay, we've got this Panzer 3N. I don't remember what the hell else I was needed to do to it. Oh, we need to paint some white on the cross part. You already painted the running gear and the road wheels. And yeah, then after that we'll do the weathering and we'll paint the muffler and stuff. I guess I could do the muffler before the weathering, but let's get it on. You don't care for daylight savings. Honestly, I wish they would just pick one or the other. I don't like it being dark at 5 o'clock. I just can't handle that because it's like you go to work when it's dark, you come home when it's dark, you just feel like you're getting screwed, you know. So I prefer the summertime because I don't give a shit if it's dark when I go to work. What am I going to do, But at night, yeah, I hate leaving work when it's dark. It just affects everything. So, but honestly, I'm fine with them picking one, but you don't seem to be able to do that. I think they realize that if they pick one, then they'd have to eliminate how many people work for the government and are on their payroll. So they don't want to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the muffler. Let's get our what is it? Orange ass brown, orange brown, orange brown and black. Now you wish I'd gotten up an hour earlier. Well, you're not going to work, right? You're still not working, so you're living the vacation. Okay, black. I guess at this point I might as well do all three of them. And yeah, I don't like losing an hour, but I like it being darker later because I couldn't tell you how many days in the last 2 weeks I've gone to bed like super early, just because I'm tired and it looks like it's sleepy time. I do not like this muffler on these Model M and N tanks. It looks stupid. The snorkel thing. It adds like another meter of being able to wade or something like that, but I don't know that I'd be a big fan of taking a tank into a situation that could get a leakage issue inside your vehicle. Especially a Panzer III, because you've got no hatches. You've got no hatches for the driver and the assistant driver. They used to have these ones down here in the bottom escape hatches. They used to have a couple of those, and then what ended up happening is they always had ammunition and stuff in front of them. You couldn't get to them. He had an interview a week ago. Showed up dressed professionally. Was there 20 minutes early, had all the paperwork filled out, had all the qualification for the job. Then I got ghosted by the place. My wife got laid off a couple months ago, along with everybody who was the original members of the company. They had gotten bought out within the last year. And basically anybody who started with them basically got shown the door, regardless of how good a job they were doing. And she's had a hell of a time trying to find employment. So I told her, I said, you got another couple months to go, and then you're going to have to start an OnlyFans. You know? I hear that's a respectable line of work. I told you don't have to show your face. I don't even know what the hell that is. And I don't know what it is because you got to pay for it. If it was free, I would have already checked it out. What kind of a position was it for, Nordic? What's your background? It's very disheartening, to be honest. Well, we're busy as shit at work. I gotta go in tomorrow, actually. I gotta go in tomorrow because I wasn't gonna go in today. I need a break. Need some therapy. In my case, it's not necessarily the work you're doing, it's all the problems. Like everything just comes up. You fix one thing and then two other things come unraveled. And it's just stuff you can't, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the nature of it. So you feel like little Dutch boy. An office job. I have a background in customer service, data entry, and office clerical jobs. Okay. No, we're super busy. It seems like every day we're busier. Which is fine until, I got to take a day off. That's going to be a nightmare. That's going to be a nightmare coming back to that. I don't mean, because I don't have I don't want to get in the habit of going back to work. I'm just saying that, all the problems that freaking happen just for missing one day. So I don't understand the people that like miss work. If I don't show up for work one day, if I'm not able to come in, say Monday, because of, XYZ, I certainly can't come in Tuesday because now I got to fix all Monday's problems plus getting new, it's like, no, I'm there every freaking day, and I really like that we do, and I hope they keep doing this. They've done it a couple of years and they talk about not doing it anymore is the plant shuts down between Christmas and New Year's. So that's 1 week where you take off and you can just basically leave and nothing moves. And I like that. I wish all our vacation was that way. Like, just tell me when you can, tell me when I go on vacation, just shut the whole plant down so nothing changes. Fortunately, I cannot do physical work because of several permanent injuries and other issues that require me to be behind a desk. Well, there's lots of people that don't do physical work. There's always a meme or something that's going around, and it talks about how You don't have to go to college to make a good living. Here's all these trades that you could go to. You can make a good living at them. Plumber, welder, electrician, air condition repair type thing. Yeah, the problem with that is they're jobs where you're going to be, even if you could deal with them being dirty all the time, and they're not jobs I want my daughter to do, for starters. And not necessarily because you're picking up a lot of weight or stuff like that, but you're always freaking hot, you're always freaking dirty. And the worst thing is, and I can tell you from personal experience, is the other people you have to interact with are not the best folks to hang out with all day long. And I'm just telling you from personal experience that I wouldn't want my daughter hanging around a bunch of construction workers. So so yeah, they can pay well, but you got to show up every day, and they're tough jobs. They're tough jobs because you're freaking hot all the day long. I mean, look at the irony. A guy that works on air conditioning is probably never in the air conditioning. He's probably outside. A good job for me, it'd be good. I'd be a guy that would work on heaters, because that'd be cold all the time, right? Because you're repairing a heater when it's not working, which means it's cold. But I know a guy that's what he does. He does HVAC stuff. It's freaking hot attics all the damn time. And they're not environments you'd want your daughter to be in, because they're tough, hot jobs. You're dirty all the time, and the people you're working with have no manners and don't know how to deal with a freaking lady. You could move north to Alaska and be cold year round. I hear they got big mosquitoes. They say it's like 10 men to 1 woman up there. I don't know. Do I really want to move somewhere that Russia didn't want? Think about it. How rotten of a place is it that Russia didn't want it? We will keep Siberia, but that Alaska, that's bullshit. Here, sell it. I sell it to you for a cheap price. I mean, what kind of a dump is it? It's a little too late to be relocating, And actually, today was kind of a hot day. I didn't mind being hot because I wasn't in work clothes, Russia didn't know oil was in Alaska, I don't think. In Soviet Russia, snow shovels you, comrade. That's right. Entrenching tool. You are the mud hole. Okay, something weird is happening with my phone. I ran the power all the way down, which is something I never do, but I hear you want to do that from time to time. And it just doesn't want to charge. I mean, it's charging, but it doesn't want to fire up. Let's try this. Yeah, it's at 0%, and I have it plugged in and it doesn't want to work. All right, let's try something different. I do need it to do its thing. Let's try this. Let's try it different. I'll be right back. I need to go home and take a restroom break. I'll be right back in a moment. Okay. There's oil in Alaska, but are we pumping it out? Because if you have it there, but you don't pump it out, what good does it do? Well, I had a hell of a time staying awake in the middle of the day today. It was really weird. I I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. I went to bed later than I normally do, and then I slept in an extra hour than I normally do, and then caffeine just wasn't working. So I actually went at some point after the feed today. I actually went to try to take a nap, and I spent about an hour. I think I took about a 1 hour nap. I was in bed for about an hour, and I woke up like 5 or 6 times. So that wasn't working either. I finally left the house and took a trip into town, into the bigger town, and finally woke up after a while. without drinking more coffee. Maybe I was making it worse by just drinking coffee. I had a hell of a time waking up. Rainy, cold day. Just stayed in bed longer than I should have. Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird. But I don't have a headache or anything. That's the important thing. Anything but a headache, please. But I went to the old Hobby Lobby to see if they had something, because I was watching a video on what to do about the decals. Because I got lots of decals I want to use, but they're old. And I tried using this. One of the guys at the model club's like, yeah, just put, something like this on top of it and seal it. And I did that, and it didn't work. So Microscale makes a product, decal film or something. I can't tell you what it's called right now because my phone's not here. It's being hopefully charging, or I guess I'll be buying another phone tomorrow, or a replacement battery or something, which is really weird. Today's the one day that I ran it all the way out, or maybe there was a problem with it and that's why it ran out. Because I was driving around, I didn't have it plugged in. But regardless, it's called decal something or another. So we're gonna try that. I ordered. It'll be in a week. But I've got cool decals for the Hetzer. I got cool decals for the Hummel, the Vespa. I don't want all of those are going to be too old to be able to use. They're just going to shatter and explode. So we'll see. We'll see if that does it. And I think it's not that they're that old. It's just they lost their moisture. I think that's what it is. And you're at the local Hobby Lobby yesterday looking for some bead storage containers, but their selection and prices sucked. Yeah. Go to the hobby. Go to the model aisle. It's depressing. It's depressing how much what they don't have. Is Microsol the setting solution? Yeah, Microset is a setting. Microsol is the one that allows it to conform, which I haven't had great results with it. The Microset seems to work pretty well. The Microsol, it just can't conform to some things, but that's all right. And this is like decal film or something like that. But supposedly it's going to do with the whatever. It's either that or I might as well try it before I destroy the other decals, because they're all going to do the same thing. They're all probably 30 or plus years old and brittle. So you go to the model aisle and say you're doing 1/35th scale models, and I tell you, whoever orders stuff for them doesn't have a clue of what it is. They have a Walker Bulldog, the Tamiya Walker Bulldog model, which is useless as far as I'm concerned. Really wasn't in a war, so people aren't lying. At least get a Sherman or something. Nothing worth taking away. Despite there's no models that are worth a damn. They used to have a couple of Airfix. They used to have an Airfix Sherman. They apparently stopped carrying that one. That's fine. I'm not tempted to buy anything then. It'd be nice to look at something and just say, nope, I'm not going to buy it. But not exactly teasing me. It's got a weird comment. At least it's not like Joann's Fabrics where they have those damn Atlantis models. There were 2 Tamiya kits in 1/35th were like 50 years old and worthless. What were they? A Walker Bulldog's worthless to me. I wouldn't build one. I think like South Vietnam used them. But they didn't make Korea, and the U.S. wasn't using them in Vietnam. So you got South American countries, some African countries. The ARVN or whatever, the South Vietnamese used them. It's not necessarily a bad looking tank. It's just, who wants to build a tank that wasn't used in something, But like I'm a big fan of the M103. That was like the latest version of the Patton tank that came out in like the late 50s. That had a 120 millimeter gun. That thing's a beast. But it wasn't any wars. So how exciting is that for me to build? Not at all. It's a cool tank. But it's hard to get excited to read about a vehicle that never went into combat. That's just me personal. I got all excited about they had Vallejo paints, and they do, but they have a limited stock of them. They have not the whole rack, but they have like chocolate brown, and they got all my terrain colors. They have most of the useful type colors, but they don't have them all. But the Nerd Burglar's Paradise, what did I call it? What was it that I called something the other day? Marxist glory hole. That's what. Limited stock and extortion prices on Vallejo paints. I don't know that their pricing is that bad. They just don't have anything that. Anything's better than Games Workshop. That's just absurd. That's like getting raped and you don't get to pick where. That's just Games Workshop stuff just out of control, and bad quality because now they're Agrax Earthshade and stuff. I had to move on to move into something else because it just doesn't work anymore. It got sticky. It's weird. I think the moral of the story is when you have a company that make good products, and then they go when the shareholders start making decisions for them, everything goes sideways. The pricing is $2 higher than what you'd be paying for them. In a pinch, sure, because you don't have to wait for them, but shipping to ship, but their selection sucks. Yeah, aren't they $3.99? Maybe they went up on them again. I thought they were $3.99. I don't know. Oh well. Maybe they're not anymore. Maybe they were and they're not anymore. Here they're $5 a bottle, $4.99. Okay. Yeah, they used to be $3.99 pretty much everywhere. Yeah, like you say, I'll get them in a pinch. But if I need paints, I'll just go to the Marxist glory hole. Oh man, Strange Cat Central. Let me go check on that. Let me go check on the phone. Hold on a second. You bought a laser pointer yesterday to annoy the hell out of your cat. Surprisingly, it works well. Had the cat chasing a red dot all over the house. Yeah, go put that in another room that's not near your board game. It's amazing how animals can be really good at something and like suck at other stuff. Like for instance, a cat, like if they lose track of their whiskers or something like that, like they can't feel around their stuff. They'll find themselves in a hole they don't fit through. But they can like jump off of a freaking tree and not get hurt. Deer are really graceful. They look at lights and they're just dumb as shit. I mean, it's amazing how specialized they are. You know. Overly specialized. He can't get into the game room unless someone lets him in. And I've already informed the person who did that last time never do it again. Who was it? Were they related to you? How many lashes? I say just get rid of the cat. Problem solved. I'll send Peng Huang over in a moment. I don't dislike cats, but a cat that's always like, like thinks you're trying to chase him when you're not, it just makes you want to really chase him. You know. I've known two people. Oh, I've known two people that had cats that were super cool, and all the other ones are just like scaredy cats, all the time. Fraidy cats. All right, that's where we're going to leave it at. We might touch this up later after we do the weathering, but that looks pretty reasonable at this point. Okay, we have, before I paint that shovel, I want to, these intakes look really good with the Nuln Oil on there. They look a lot better than this one. So let's go ahead and do this is the bottom of that one. We did the tracks of these two, but not the road wheels. Okay, so we should probably do the road wheels of these two vehicles. All right. Or I could do the logical thing and just chill out and get one vehicle finished. in that case, what we're going to need to do is we're going to put the white on the cross, because we had to paint these in because they're just in an area where there's just not enough space. So let's go ahead and grab a black, something black, so we can drop some white on there and be able to see the contrast. Okay, much better. Had to let out a large fart or something, right? Had to take a piss. Could save so much time if we just all wore diapers. Okay. I'll clean that up a little bit when it dries up. You'd rather not wear diapers again. I know, you got to clean them then. You don't have anybody sitting around to scoop them up for you. I'm going to go ahead and touch up this one. This is this off-centered decal. Wow, that's a problem. We'll have to get creative to holding that one. We've had worse. Hey, Skylab, you got the shipping notification. France 40 should be here in the middle of next week. Which France 40? Probably a new one. Not the old one. The old one doesn't look very good. Man, now you made it contagious. Now I gotta go pee. Right back. It's because I've been drinking tea. That goes through me like crazy. GMT second edition just came off of P500. Look at it. Had the old Avalon Hill and sold it for very little. Your games collection still manageable at 23 games. Which one of those 23 games are you do you dislike the most? Like if you're going to get rid of one, which is the one that's going on the chopping block? I'm not saying you have to get rid of it. It's just if you had to pick, what's the weakest link there? Let's go ahead and do the black road wheels. Although we didn't use this for the road wheels. This brush is special mission brush. Special duty brush. And then in the morning, we'll dry brush that thing. We got to remember to do the Nolan oil tonight. It's got to dry. Hitler's Last Gamble from 3W and Red Parachute Soviet Airborne over the Dnieper. I think France 40 was the weakest one. You recently sold off. That's the one that has Guderian, a side view of Guderian on it, right? That sounds like an SSI game, which was before my time. They were defunct by the time I got into playing board games. The problem with board games is there's not a whole lot of people that I've encountered that are really interested in playing them. It just depends on who's in your area. I really like them as long as they're in a format like on the computer where they could just set up immediately, you know. Think you're going to get rid of Blue Max next? Yes, I'm correct. Which part? The people don't want to play them? You know, the thing about them is there's nothing wrong with board games. And I certainly enjoy them. The problem is it's like, if you don't finish it, then you have to write down where everything is, instead of just like save and pick it up where you left off. Now, however, I don't like computer games. I like rolling my own dice. Okay, so, you know, as much as I like the Battle of the Bulge game from Shenandoah Studios and whatever, Drive on Moscow, whatever the hell it's called, those don't have a mechanic. Actually, it doesn't bug me too much on those, but normally I don't like, it's suspect, you know, not rolling your own dice. That's really, you know, one of the few things you can have. Now, some people hate to roll dice. I happen to be one of the ones that likes to roll dice. It's just fun, you know. Red Parachute's probably the weakest game in your collection. Is that when they landed in late 43 after Kursk? You know, a lot of the appeal of a board game also is what it looks like. If it's an unattractive looking board game, and there's lots of attractive looking board games, but then there's a lot of them that are unattractive, in my opinion. Catan, I don't see ever playing Catan ever again. I'd rather go to work. I'd almost rather play chess. That's saying a lot. I'd rather look at a Picasso. No, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. I think it was, but I'm not sure. And not going to get up and check. Feeling lazy. I believe that's what it is. It's the, it's the. It happened during the mud season of '43, and I mean the mud season in like October. Raputitska, or whatever it's called. Sounds like a Russian prostitute. I had a really hard day today. Go visit Raputitska. She only takes beluga caviar. Raputitsa, or something like that. Mudhole ahoy. So I wonder what would have happened if the Soviets would have attacked first. That was one of those things that they said that, the Hitler had attacked before the Soviets were coming after him first. How bad would the Soviets have gotten slaughtered? I don't know. September 43, I got up and checked. Okay. I was off by a month. Yeah, that's kind of a time period that doesn't get a lot of love. Um, Although it's kind of an interesting time period because you still have Panzer threes going around, you still have big tanks, older tanks running around. The book I read on Audible, it's about a machine gunner. I forget what the hell it's called, but it's about a German machine gun. It's nothing spectacularly great about the book, but there is a part that takes part during that time period where everything is just the Germans are on the defense, and there was a flamethrower Panzer III that was going around, and that was the highlight of the book, talking about what happened with that. Just going around and clearing trenches. Did attend a couple of days local board game convention last week. Played Twilight Imperium. That one takes forever to set up. Kingmaker, never played it. Wizard Quest, Tank Duel, 1, 3 of the 4. Tank Duel, is that the one that you just have you have like a card for each one of the tanks? Is it okay or is it kind of hokey? When I look one of those and it's like, you have SU-85 and you have a T-34 and you have a KV, I'm like, really, only one of each? Like, seems suspect. Not a big fan of the Bulge, so Hitler's Last Gamble isn't high on my list to play, but I only paid 30, so I'm not super mad. I haven't gotten it on the table yet. I'm not a fan of the Bulge either. I don't hate it, but it's just very limited. I don't know much about the Hungarian counteroffensive. The Budapest one. Should read more about that. But it's so freaking late. It's a 45 operation. So I came across, and I mentioned this before, the guy that has the information on the Kursk the Panthers at Kursk. He has another section on his website that's about the Ferdinands there, and it's really pretty interesting. I don't know what the guy's name is, his last name, but his first name's Mike. Mike's research page or something like that. He's assuming everything he has on there is, credible. He's done a lot of work. A lot of work. Okay, here's the return rulers on here. You're a fan of Market Garden and the initial Normandy battles, but as far in the late war on the Western Front I want to go. Tank duels just like you think, very abstract. Tony wouldn't like the cards, but I enjoyed it. Ran T-34-76, lost 2 crew members, but took out a couple of Panzer IV-H's. Okay. Well, I'm glad you know what I like. I believe you. You're probably right. I've told you. I'm a detail-oriented mother. It's probably, the distance is probably abstract, kind of like Up Front. Now that's a game I really want to like. I've played it probably a handful of times. Knew a guy that had a copy of it. Couldn't wrap my head around it. Just, the abstract distance I was okay with. I didn't like the how you set up your squad so some guys are insulated to damage. I didn't play it enough. Also known as a game with that damn blonde ass Nazi bastard on the cover of it. Blonde ass Nazi bastard. But I did like Attack Sub, which kind of had the same kind of abstract distance. I liked Attack Sub a lot, actually. If I was getting into Flames of War in today's age, I honestly would go with the Soviets, which is a far cry from what I did play when I played. Definitely think you could just focus entirely on the Russian front, World War II, never with absolute. Yeah, well, a lot of people just aren't interested in it for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, Germans are fun to play. Soviets are fun to play. I don't see what the problem is. It's where the war was decided. The War of Annihilation. You love Attack Sub. Played it several times. It's really cool. And it has that abstract distance. And, there's enough stuff going on. It looks good. I liked Attack Sub. Yeah. God, I haven't played it in 30 years. Should bring it over and play tomorrow. I like the Attack Sub. And I don't like modern stuff. That's one of the last Avalon Hill games. The group I played with were ex-40K players who brought all the bad habits to Flames of War, and they flat out refused to do anything and didn't have a Tiger tanks or Super Soviet tanks. I got bored. Exactly. Do 1941, man. Well, I'm not telling you. I'm preaching to the choir. You get it. '41 is my favorite year for the Russian front. Second favorite year, '42. Third favorite year, '43. It just keeps going like that way, So hopefully I don't have to go to the store tomorrow and pick up a new phone because it's having issues charging that I've never encountered before. But I guess it is 4 or 5 years old. But man, that battery is rock solid. And no, it's not an Apple phone, or it would have only lasted 2 years. Preaching to the choir. 3943 is where it's at. Yep. We're talking about good looking tanks. A KV-1S is a good looking tank. And so is a KV-85. And so is a T-34-85. Most Soviet vehicles I think are attractive. The only problem about Soviet vehicles that makes them unattractive is their lack of markings, or they're in the Stone Age compared to everybody else. But their vehicles are aesthetically pleasing. You're putting together 15mm Soviet forces for use with Blitzkrieg Commander. Is that also a 1-to-5 scale game? And I think one of the worst things about Flames of War is that I said, well, how many tanks does it represent? It's supposed to represent one. I'm like, yeah, the game doesn't feel like that. The game is very vague for it to represent one tank. You don't like the T-34-85? None for you then. You get stuck with the earlier one. I don't like the model. I think the T-34 that's the ugliest is the Model 41. I think the 1941's attractive. I like the hexagonal turret one. I like the T-34-85. The one in between those, not a very attractive vehicle. Yes, 1-to-5 for vehicles. Okay. All right. Well, I like that. I guess that's considered operational. The command decision scale. Spearhead's also that same scale. I like it. The game I don't like, but I played it anyways. Rapid Fire is 1-to-5. It's a long barrel you don't like. I don't know. Maybe it's just... maybe long things give you a feeling of inadequacy. I don't know. I think it's a good looking vehicle. But most Soviet vehicles are I think attractive. You know. I don't really like Scherzen. I don't really like a Panzer IV-H. It's got too much Scherzen. And it's the Scherzen on the hull I don't like. The Scherzen on the turret I'm actually okay with. It's the Scherzen on the hull that just, it just covers up a bunch of stuff and doesn't look as good. Doesn't mean I won't build them. I'm just, I think it could have looked better if they made it look different. Always start with regular units or commonly engaged units. Yeah, no point in having the elite, Stalin's back scratchers or whatever the hell they are. All right, now we got to do the Nuln Oil. Lest we forget. And we laid it on thick. And it paid big dividends that I did thick. It looks good. It looks really good. You're going to be a dickweed like that, huh? All right. All right, pee-pee toucher. I like them apples. Did you have a copy of Barbarossa 25 for Command Decision? I do, but it's not handy. You have a copy on PDF? Okay. Mine's very loved. It's fallen apart. Well, Mitch actually has Command Decision 2nd edition, along with that tome of the units. We were looking at it the other day because he wanted to build some 41 Soviets for rapid fire, and it's the same scale. But one thing that kind of caught him off guard is that the rapid fire has no Soviet infantry. So I said, man, you got the information right here. He's like, well, where's that? I said, you have the Command Decision book. Pull that stuff down. Man, there's that many books. It's like I took a page out of Flames of War. All right, well, it's 10 minutes to 10. I got to go check on my phone. We got what we needed to be able to do the dry brushing on this in the morning. So we're going to weather all 3 of these Panzer IIIs in the morning. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. I think that's the intent. And we'll see you guys on the next one. See you later, folks.